Yo! Video games.
What up, dudes? It's Matt here from YoVideogames. Now, as you probably noticed over the past week, I did a lot of videos for hands-on impressions of games that I played at E3 2016. However, I haven't talked about any games that I only got to see but not play. I generally don't like doing this, and if it was a game that I saw but could play but didn't get the chance, I'm not going to talk about that. So, Sea of Thieves, while it looks cool, and I did watch lots of different random people play it, I don't really have too much an opinion on it because I didn't really get hands-on and I could have gotten hands-on. So, not going to talk about it. It looks great, but there you go. That's all I can really say for it at this point. Now, moving on to other games that I got to see. I don't like talking about them because I don't really feel expressing an extended trailer on something is any sort of big deal, really. And I don't really like it when you go into a room and someone plays a game in front of you but does it in a very scripted manner. It kind of feels like that Ubisoft scam thing, you know, where it's like, oh, it's a bullshot trailer, walkthrough, gameplay, bullshit demo. So, none of that. Now, I do want to talk about a game that I did see. It was eyes on, but it was much more of a intimate encounter. And I don't mean that sexually, though. You can take it that way if you want, because I would probably sleep with, you know, Grant or Steve if given the chance. Now, what I'm talking about, of course, is Yooka-Laylee. Yooka-Laylee is the kickstarted spiritual successor to the Rare-era N64 platformer. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of connections to Banjo-Kazooie, and it's not without merit. Now, one thing I want to do is point out beforehand is that it's not every single person that worked on Banjo-Kazooie. Playtonic is made up of a lot of Rare veterans who have years of experience under the belt and were, you know, in the trenches during, you know, their best days and years. But that doesn't necessarily mean everyone at Playtonic has a Rare employee, and doesn't mean everyone who worked on Banjo-Kazooie is working on Yooka-Laylee. That being said, it is a game that feels immediately like you want it to feel. When I got taken into, you know, the small demo room that they were displaying the game, and I believe his name was Andy from Playtonic, sat down and we were on a couch basically, and a TV screen right in front of us, and he started playing the game. It was the most wonderful feeling in the world. Now, there's been games that have come out that are like or sequels to popular games of the past, and you get that sort of Mega Man 9 effect, and that is if all of a sudden you pop, instantly turn into a 8 or 10-year-old kid, even though I was older than that when Banjo-Kazooie came out, and all of a sudden everything just sort of fades away. It's a lot like the scene in Ratatouille where the food critic takes a sip of it, and then all of a sudden he instantly is transported back to being a child. So that was the odd effect. Seeing Yooka-Laylee, like hands-on, actual gameplay, like all, like, you know, very not complete, but, you know, very far along build of the game, was suddenly as if Rare never went away, as if all the dark, shitty years of Microsoft suddenly vanished. It was just, it was the most amazing feeling. And I've said this before. The metaphor I use is, it's like you wake up one day and your fucking dog's been sold off because he barked too loud, or like he bit someone on a walk, or some dumb shit like that. So your dog is forcibly taken from you and put in a shelter or put somewhere, and he's just gone. You don't even know where he went. Or even if you do know where he went, it's like it's a horrible feeling. And then years and years pass, and, you know, dog's long dead by now, you know, just by lifespan. And all of a sudden you come home one day and you open the door, and there he is. There's your beloved pet that you lost suddenly years ago, like 15 years ago, and all of a sudden it's just, he's back, and you have that with you, and it's just this amazing reunion. It's like Lassie Come Home times 20. So that was the most wonderful feeling because it just fucking worked. Now, unlike Bloodstained, Yooka-Laylee is definitely a game that feels like the next Rare platformer, not, hey, this is Banjo-Kazooie, but we just tore the name off and then recalled it Yooka-Laylee. It does feel like an extension or a true sequel, and I'll get to a little bit in later on. What I got to see first off that hasn't been shown yet is a bit of the hub world. I think it's called Shipwreck Cove or Shipwreck Shores. I think Shipwreck Shores is it. And what was really great is I got to hear a tiny snippet of new music by Grant Kirkhope, but way too fast. The guy playing Andy ran to the area where the giant, like, storybook opens up and you jump into the first world. What's cool about it is that it's this sort of mixture between mechanical and wilderness, like not wilderness, but mechanical and natural setting. And you see like these weird pipes kind of going in and out of like cliffside walls, and you see all these books being flown around them because obviously the library theme is a big theme of this game, and you collect pages instead of jiggies, you collect quills instead of notes. So that's how that all functions. So I was really fucking frustrated not to be able to hear more of Shipwreck Shore. I believe it's Shipwreck Shores. I might be getting that name wrong. You know, it's been a little while since, and I was so enamored with what I was seeing that I wasn't paying too much attention to the text necessarily. So that was, you know, a little bummer, because I would have. But the whole thing is, if you gave me that control, I would have been like sitting in every corner of that game for like an hour each. So I guess it's just better. So we go to the first world, which I cannot remember. It's like Tropic, Tiki Tropic, Tribe Talking. I don't even really know. All I know is it had something with Tropics and Tribe in the name of the first world, and that's the music we have heard sampled on Playtonic's website, their Kickstarter, and Grant Kirkhope's website as well, which is pretty nice. It's good. It's good music. It sounds like immediately like Banjo-Kazooie. First things we were shown in the game is that the change in the ability meter. Now, in Banjo-Kazooie, you got red feathers for flight, you got eggs for ammo, you got gold feathers for the invincibility. So it was all these separate items that were spread out all over the world, and they all had their own like ammo counter for that. Yooka-Laylee has an overall meter, at least in this demo, and I'm not going to say this is final because it's just could be just the demo. Had an overall meter where, say, if you wanted to turn invisible as Yooka, it like the meter starts burning. Or if you wanted to do a move that uses Laylee in some respects, like sonar or whatever, like it uses a little bit of the meter, and then the meter naturally autofills from there. So you can't do it indefinitely, and you don't have to collect anything really to refill that meter. Now, there were cool things where there is still sort of ammo in a sense. There's all these different plants in the world that have different types of fruit growing off them, and when Yooka eats that fruit, he then gets that ability, such as Fire Breath, which you see in the trailer, spitting ice balls out. You saw that in the trailer as well. There was another one that I got to see at the show, I think. I'm not 100% sure on what. I think it was like a sonar thing of some sort where it made things appear. Maybe not. Don't take my word on that. One thing we did get to see in the demo is that the level design is vertical, at least in the first world. I'm not going to say that for every world, but in the first world, it had a much more verticality to it. Banjo-Kazooie was a lot of more flatter designs where the levels were kind of spread around basically a giant circle or rectangle, but mostly a giant circle area, and it was kind of spread more flatly. Now, you go up and down a lot, but this level was more verticality. Think Click Clock Wood, actually. It was kind of like that in a sense, because it was a lot of going up. Now, there's still plenty of space to run around in, but yeah, it was interesting to see how it had more verticality to it. And something I really, really got to stress that I'm actually very happy about is that the game world, in the tropic world, you are technically on floating platforms, but they did this amazing job of having these different artistic mountain ranges in the background, and then if you look over the edge of the cliff, you see a basic rainforest layout of trees below you. So they didn't just have it like the Mario 3D world look, where it's like, here's a block, and it's floating over the great big blue sky that has absolutely no detail or depth to it at all. You're just kind of like floating in the middle of a dev bug mode. So that was actually really nice to see. Another thing we got to see and hear, and this is where I'm really excited, is that yes, the auto or the music changing to dynamically to the environment is still in here. Obviously, you get like a more harp version of it when you're swimming underwater. And then you got to see where we went into the ruins of a temple where the one-eyed trouser snake, I believe his name is Trouser, is selling you moves. He's basically bottles in this game. And you talk to him, and what's interesting here is that unlike Bottles, where it was like, hey, here's different bottle locations throughout every game world that he was in Banjo-Kazooie's, meaning you had to find him and for one specific move and then pay him, Trouser is just chilling in the temple. And he basically, you go to him, and it's a generic menu of, this many quills for this move, and he has all the moves, and he's in one spot, so it streamlines it a bit. So again, it takes the idea of Banjo-Kazooie, but makes it a little more accessible, a little more streamlined, where you use the quills that you collect in the world, and you always know where Trouser is in a level, so you can always just go back to that spot. You don't have to like wonder where the fuck is Bottles. so you don't have to look for those little dirt mounds. So that's nice. I don't mind that at all. Maybe that takes a little bit away from the exploration aspect, but again, these worlds are really colorful and really inviting, so I'm not that concerned about it at all. The other thing that we were shown, and this is I think really cool, is that we were shown how when you come out of a world, you can talk to the notebook, the storybook that is the world, and you can decide if you want to expand that world, like you unlock and expand it and change it in some ways. Or you can take the pages and just go to the next spot in the hub world, unlock a new level. And what's really cool is that it's far less to unlock new levels than it is to expand levels. Like expanding the worlds is like a hardcore mechanic. Like, hey, you want to do more shit in this one world? Well, it's going to be 20 pages to expand this world. Or you just, I don't know how much, I have no idea how much, I'm just throwing this out here. It's like 5 or 10 pages to unlock the new level somewhere else from the hub world. So it's streamlined in a sense where it's like they know if people just kind of want to see all the game has to offer, they make that easier to do than if you want to sit and really veg out in every game world and like expand them completely and all that. And I like that, and I'm going to enjoy it. And one thing I did ask and got an answer to is that it is possible to 100% the game, because I was worried about maybe if you spent some of the pages like expanding game worlds that would either lock out other games, or basically what I was thinking was that you could unlock every world in the game, but you would only be able to expand so many, because I was worried that maybe the distribution of pages would mean that you could only expand a certain number of worlds and you could never unlock the full 100% game in one go. And yes, you can. So that's great to hear. One of the cooler things we were shown, was that, and then we saw how an example of in the first world, after you expand it, and they were obviously they were on a debug beta of the game, so they could unlock all the end game level moves. And he flew right up to the top of this area and was like, okay, here's this cloud up on the top. You see him in the trailer. So his name's like Nimbo or something, and he's got this interesting thing where you can actually do different things to him to interact with the world below. You can make him rain, which then floods up these normally dry riverbed channels on the bottom, or you can freeze him, in which case he freezes like you can make it rain, so then you have a river, and then you can freeze the river, and that also unlocks new pathways and abilities. One example they gave was when the riverbeds are completely dry, there's this female cloud which you can race through the dry riverbed. Again, you see this in the trailer that they put out. And then if you freeze the water, fill it up and then freeze it, you can go back to the female cloud, and then you can race her again on top of the ice, which is a new race, and it's a harder variation of that race that you used one other method or one other thing in the game world to interact with this and change. So yeah, it gives you a reason to go back and talk to the other characters. Speaking of talking, I want to really point out that they do the exact same thing of Banjo-Kazooie, where you see a little CG sprite of the character appear in the top right or bottom left corner of the screen, and then this faded black oval bar comes out, and then they specifically tried to match the font of Banjo-Kazooie, so when every character speaks, it's the gibberish speak of Banjo-Kazooie, and it's done in the exact same way and style as Banjo-Kazooie, because it's just a great nostalgic nod. There are other really, really tiny nods to Banjo-Kazooie. For instance, there was like the stride strut with Kazooie in the first game, and when Kazooie comes out and you're running on Kazooie's legs and Banjo's just hanging on her back now, she always made this particular noise, which, I guess I won't go into too much, but it's like a and they copy that because in this game there's a mode where Yooka curls up into a ball and Laylee is balancing on top of the ball, and that's how basically you go up steep hills. And Laylee makes her own variation of the little thing as well. So tiny nods like that. The way not double jump, but when you jump and then press the jump button again, Laylee then flaps her wings for a little bit while Yooka hangs on, so you get a little extra boost. It's like Yoshi's Flutter Jump if you haven't played Banjo-Kazooie, but if you're watching this video, why the fuck haven't you played Banjo-Kazooie? Go play it now. So all these tiny little odds, the way the Flutter Jump, the mechanics of that seem to be almost one-to-one with how Kazooie's extra flight mechanic was for getting you a little boost in the air. So that was really cool. The other disappointing things about the game were the fact that I didn't get to see the ice level, and because I actually really want to see it, because I know one of the art directors or art leads on Cameo is specifically making the ice world, which has a ice castle motif, and it sounds really fucking cool, and I really wanted to fucking see it. You get a tiny bit of it in the trailer, but fuck. And the other part that disappoints the fuck out of me on that is I didn't get to fucking hear Grant Kirkhope's Ice World theme. God damn it. So that's it's a good problem to have, because I'm disappointed only because I didn't get to see more. So on the one hand, it's frustrating to me, but on the other hand, it's a good problem to have. The other thing too, as I gotta say, is that because this is a Kickstarter game, because this is independent, and even beyond Yooka-Laylee, in particular, Grant is a freelance music composer, that gives you the best fucking interviews at the show. It's completely bullshitless. It's completely just honest. There's no like, oh, I gotta be careful what I say, obviously they're not gonna sit there and tell you the whole game. That's not what I'm talking about. I mean, like, when I specifically asked about what was the problem with people, because a lot of people are worried about Yooka-Laylee running on the Unity engine and not Unreal 4. Well, first of all, the game is being built with the Wii U in mind, so Wii U and PC are your core build, and then Team 17 is going to port it to PS4 and Xbone. So it's obviously something that the Wii U can't do Unreal 4, so using Unity is just the better option, because you want to port up, you don't want to port down. So that's really cool. But like, I won't say word for word because I can't remember exactly, but like, one of the reasons they didn't use Unreal 4, like what that Grant personally told me, was for pretty damn good reasons. And it was honest. It wasn't like, well, we just found this fit our things better. It was, no, we're not using Unreal 4 because for some of the things we want to do, Unreal 4 is fucking terrible. It's just fucking bollocks. Just totally, like, that was the way it's told to me. Exactly how I would tell you if I was working on a game. I wouldn't sit there and mince words. I wouldn't be like super like PC about it. I was like, no, I'm not using this because for what I want to do, it fucking sucks. And this works way better. So I'm going to use this one. I love it. They're so much better when you have these independent games, and that's another reason why indie games are good, is because developers can be honest, they can be transparent, they can tell you exactly why something is or isn't the way it is in the game without having to fucking worry about it, without having to ask some big giant, monolithic publisher, like, oh, can I actually say this thing? It's like, no, none of that fucking noise. I'm just gonna tell you straight out, because you know what? You funded me. It's like, my game is made because of the donation of you and all these other people, and you have a right to know. And I don't have to fucking worry about it. So I love that. It's the best thing about it. Like, people like Grant are the reason you want to be a game journalist or interview people, because you get honest answers, and you get, someone who's actually very charismatic and someone who you want to fucking hang out with and talk to. I feel the same way about Steve. It's just Steve was a tiny bit more quiet than Grant, which is not a knock on Steve at all. I think Steve was a really great guy. I wish I could hang out and talk with him more, but they were packed ass to ass to ass, like, with interviews. It was like no rest. Like, it was like my interview was squeezed in right after another, which then led to, I had to be shushed out because they had to get to the next interview. So it was just like, it was a never-ending fucking stream of interviews for these guys. And I'm glad to see it, because this game was exactly what you wanted it to be. It looks amazing. It sounds amazing. And for all accounts, so I was very close to it, plays amazing. And we're going to get a sort of demo dev box build thing next month, which obviously I'm going to get, because I'm obviously a very high backer on this game, because I want it so bad. But this is the welcome home to classic era N64 era Rare. And it was honestly the most exciting thing I saw. It was the game that got me the most happy, the most excited, the most hype. If I would reward games, and there's no really point to it, because who cares about what I say, but it's like, if I was going to reward something with Game of Show, and I'm talking about it, and that counts as games I didn't get to play, Yooka-Laylee wins. Yooka-Laylee wins because that was such a wonderful time to be a gamer during the 1998 on era, during Rare's heyday, and we just haven't gotten it. We just have not had that style of game made, and a lot of publishers don't think people want that. But with the recent success sales-wise of Ratchet and Clank on PS4 and how fast Yooka-Laylee was funded, fuck them. Fuck anyone who told you people didn't want this, because you know what? They're dead fucking wrong. And I expect when this game launches early next year, people are gonna love it. Like I'm very convinced of that from what I saw. And then I'll get some hands-on time with a different type of demo next month, and I'll probably report back how my feelings on it then. So Yooka-Laylee is the most exciting thing I saw at E3 2016. And if you're a rare 3D platformer fan of any sort or kind, you would probably feel the same way I feel very strongly. You would feel the same way if you got to see the game. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll catch you on the channel. Later, dudes!